Welcome to TechNOW. I'm your host, John Reid, who's joining John Foreman, the head of ePath Consulting. And John is in Gurgaon, India, city of 21 million people, home of Fortune 500 companies. I believe India has 300 million internet users. And we wanted John to share with us his perspective, his take on not only the city, but also India in terms of their innovation and entrepreneurship. So John, welcome and talk to us a bit about what you see there.
Well, greetings from India, John. Just so you know, it's a balmy 42 degrees here today, which I understand is a little warmer than it is in Canada right now. And I'm here in Gurgaon, India, which is just outside New Delhi, the national capital region. It's which is an area of about 21 million people. So you can imagine it's very developed, very crowded. And I'm here because my company, ePath Consulting, is part of an initiative to bring training in global e-commerce best practices to business executives here in India. Now, I've been working with this group for about 6 months now, and I've learned a lot about India. It's a very fascinating country. It's experiencing incredible growth in many areas. But one of the most high-profile areas is definitely e-commerce. India has lagged behind, the ones we hear about the most, countries like China, due to issues around infrastructure, around the regulatory environment, around economic development. But now India is the fastest-growing e-commerce market in Asia, if not the world. As you said, they have over 300 million internet users, and their internet growth is adding the equivalent of the whole Canadian online community every 6 months. In addition, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, John, one of the things we discussed was, how innovation has seized the culture there. I even understand that that applies to how lunches are delivered. And you never think of lunches as a point of innovation.
Well, it's a fantastic story. India has had a lot of challenges to overcome as it moves into the e-commerce world, and not the least of them is last mile delivery. How do we get the parcels to the customers? The infrastructure is way behind what we're used to in North America. Well, and this innovative example just blew me away. In Mumbai, they have something called, and I'm going to mispronounce this, so I apologize, but they're called, I believe, the Dabawalas, which is a delivery network that's used to get hot lunches from home to a businessman's office each day. And it's a fantastic logistics network of courier people on bicycles and scooters and everything you can imagine, with color-coded packages to both get the lunch there on time and then pick up the empty container and get it back home at the end of the day. Well, Flipkart, India's leading e-commerce company, has adapted that network to use it for e-commerce parcel delivery. So I think there's just tremendous innovation going on here. In fact, another example, India has really leapfrogged the rest of the world in terms of the adoption of mobile telephony. Most people have a mobile phone, they don't have anything else. And at the moment, I believe the forecast is that by next year, there'll be over 200 million mobile phones, smartphones actually, in India, and they'll be the second largest mobile phone community in the world, just behind China and ahead of the US. Well, Flipkart has decided that they're going to turn off their website and just use their mobile app as their way of selling the products and communicating with the customers. As far as I know, nobody else in the world is doing that.
Well, we all know that innovation and startups and growth requires seed capital. So are there vehicles there that can provide that seed for those innovative ideas? Well, what's the venture capital landscape like there?
Well, it's changing very rapidly. I read not very many months ago a quote that said that New York does more deals in a morning by 11 a.m. than India did in a whole year. But last year, VC funding in India grew by about 300%. I understand there were over 300 deals done worth about $5 billion US. And over 300 companies receive funding. So a real turnaround, and the startup market here is really accelerating. I heard that something like 1,200 new startups last year in India.
Things we like to do on TechNOW is really deliver a sort of a gem of guidance to Canadians. So if you look at what you've seen so far in the experiences that you've had, and you were to advise sort of the innovators in Canada as something we might focus on, or something we might add to our list of resources, what would the one point of guidance be in looking at India as a best practice model?
Well, you know, we're here to teach. We're doing seminars and courses for executives and managers. And what I found is that the people here are very, very thirsty for knowledge, but they don't just sit there and listen. Everything that we say, they turn it around and find a new way to apply it. So I think that the flexibility that they show and the creativity they show in applying best practice knowledge from around the world to their specific problems is a great lesson for Canadians as well. You know, in my work with Canadians, I know we're very innovative people, but we don't always take that extra step to push the envelope and you know, do the things, push the art of the possible.
John, that's a very powerful cultural message to Canadians, because we have a lot of resources, but if you don't have individuals that take chances, that step into the game, and really have that mindset. So you know, thank you for sharing that, because we're trying to create that culture in Canada. Thank you for joining us from India, where we're going to be, you know, keeping up with your adventures and your experiences. After all, TechNOW reaches out anywhere at any time to get those best insights. So thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Well, you're welcome. I'm here for a couple more weeks, and then I'm back to Canada, and I'm back here again in the summer. We're actually launching an academy here in partnership with actually a Canadian company named Ecommerce e-business solutions, who's setting up a campus here to train e-business executives. So I think I'll be back here multiple times working with them.
And you've given us the topic of our next TechNOW with you, John. So again, I wish you well with your mission.
Thanks, John. We'll talk to you soon.